Buongiorno and welcome to Finder-osity, the Finder videocast and podcast. We are excited to have you with us today. We have some amazing topics to cover, or really one key amazing topic to cover, which is socially distant industrial sales evolution. We have a lot of amazing visitors with us. My name is Chad Meyer, and to my left, front, center, bottom, since we have a lot of people here, I don't know where she is on my screen, is Diane Sufi. Diane, who do we have with us today?
Well, hello everyone and welcome to Finder-osity. We are very happy to introduce you to our three panelists, which all have very unique takes on how we've been living in our socially distant world. So first up, I am going to bring up my friend Ray Wilson of Techni Reps out of the Carolinas and Virginia. Hey, Ray.
Hello, hello.
Now, Ray is actually one of the oldest industrial sales people around because he was born into it.
In the whole country.
The whole country. On the planet.
There might
Wow.
be some industrial sales people, families out there that have had their child in a warehouse and carried on.
Wow.
And next up, we have our Ryan Freund, which I say Ryan Friend because he's my friend. And he is with Mercer Midwest out of Wisconsin. Ryan has been in the industry about 13 years. And one fun fact about Ryan is that, oh, I can't even say it. Ryan used to hang out in mosh pits, people.
There you go.
There it is. And he got his nose broken.
Broken right
In
there.
mosh pits? So you were a headbanger?
Maybe.
See, I'm telling you. All right, and last but certainly not least is my friend Bo O'Mara out of Power Source out of Alabama.
Hello, roll tide.
Now,
Hello.
he's an oldie but a goodie in our industry, just like me. I'm not calling anybody out, but Ray's been hanging out for 28 years now in industrial sales. And one fun fact is that Ray, I'm sorry, Bo's family has decided that he is not fun. I was super sad to hear that, but I think he's fun, and you guys will too, because he knows things, and that's what we're here to talk about. So welcome, gentlemen.
We are excited to have you with us. And you're wondering probably why we have these people here. It's as I mentioned, the topic for today is the socially distant industrial sales evolution here on Finder-osity. And really what we wanted to look at is how sales has truly evolved, not only really since March, but in the past few years. Our industry, the industrial industry, has really always been fundamentally a person-to-person sales environment where you meet up with people, you show them product, you get them to engage, and it's over the years become increasingly difficult to get in front of people as business evolves and people are getting busier and busier and resources are becoming less and less. So people, after kind of that 08, 09 downturn, had to wear a lot of different hats. And really their positions have evolved quite dramatically. And what we find today is in this socially distant world that it's even become more challenging to see people and try and show your product. So we have three people here that have some pretty unique strategies that are all a little bit different on their own that they deployed and evolved into. One of our strategies, Diane, right, has been doing stuff like this, is getting in front of the screen and digitalizing a lot of different things and trying to keep it fairly personal.
So leading into that with our three unique strategies, I think that Ray, I'm going to call on you first because I had the pleasure a couple years ago to come down and hang out with you when you just did your van. Ray has a super cool van with all of his products in there. So, and we will put a little picture of it up here and let you all be able to see it as well. But tell us, Ray, how did this start for you?
Well, talking a little bit about what Chad said earlier, in the last, 4 to 5 to maybe 10 years, getting in front of people has become harder and harder with the internet, the younger generation having access to information. So, historically, we're all out, trying to make sales calls, make appointments, get in front of people, and we walk in with literature, we walk in with demo cases, we walk in with product. And it's just kind of the way it's always gone in this industry. And in the last 6 to 8 years, we've had multiple manufacturers come up with their own display vehicles or vans or trailers or 18-wheelers or whatever it was. And over that course of time, I saw the benefit of getting product in front of people as opposed to walking in at a desk and handing them literature and talking about product and so forth. So in late 2017, we invested in basically a Ford Transit, a drivable van, and basically kind of copied some concepts from other manufacturers where we basically built out the van, put all the product on there where it wasn't just one product from one manufacturer, it was all the products. And what we found was, number one, it was fun. We were able to go out on the road, visit people. Some of the appointments were scheduled. Quite frankly, most of them weren't. A lot of it was cold calls, getting people out of the office, getting them onto the van. And what we found was that it kind of broke down the barriers of, not being able to see people. They look out the window, they'd see the van, they kind of stick their head in there, we get them in the van, and one thing would lead to another. And usually we did have a set purpose to show them product, but it wasn't always that we wanted to show them this particular product. But what we found over time is that as people have come onto the van, we're here to show them product A, but really what happens is they showed interest in this product over here, and one thing leads to another. So we're cross-selling multiple product lines in the same thing. So it's worked out really well. It's giving people hands-on experience to touch the product, feel the product, and get them out of their zone, ask questions. And it's been so successful. We did invest in a second van in December of 19, which, here we are 9 months later. Haven't fully got it built out yet because of numerous reasons, but moving forward, I see the benefit of having such a sales tool because it just breaks down barriers of, one, getting people out of the office, putting hands on, so forth. It's and then, we didn't just do this when coronavirus came in, the pandemic hit. We're changing the strategy a little bit because we have these tools now.
But as Ray was saying, with his van, and I did see the first one, but especially now during pandemic times, how awesome is that? Now that some of us are able to be back in the offices, to be able to see product outside, safe, socially distant, but kind of keeping that tradition alive in the way that we do industrial sales.
And one of the things that I thought was interesting that they deployed is as they're going after significant targets and large targets, is the fact that they can go in and say, hey, I know you're not wanting to see us right now, and we can't get in the building because you're on lockdown, but we can take you out in the fresh air. We wipe down the van between every session, between every new customer, and you can walk in, you can check things out, and we can talk about it outside in a very safe and distant environment. And I think that puts people a little bit at ease and really makes a core difference in how they do it. Ray, what were some of the challenges that you faced when doing that, when kind of deploying that strategy? What were some of the things that you found were a little more difficult and where people were maybe resistant to it? Or was it just?
Well, I think the main resistance was, but even prior to the van, was getting appointments to see people and so forth. In today's environment, being that we have the van, we can promote it as an open air environment where one or two people can get on. It's, we do disinfect it after each visit. We have, masks and so forth. So we've tried to break down the barrier of us coming into their facility and allowing them to come out, look at product. We can stand outside the van, talk about product and so forth. But those were the main things, that we're dealing with in today's environment, that this allows us to, socially distance, let people get on the van, take a look at product and so forth. So that's been the main issue.
what you've done though, I mean, I thought it was cool even before this pandemic, but you know, as a person that travels, you know, like 5 months out of the year and stuff like that, I mean, I miss those interactions. I miss
Right.
the time. And I mean, even though I'm not actually building a panel or looking for parts, I mean, those are my customers, those are my friends in the industry. So, I mean, I thought your idea was great back then, but now during this pandemic and coming out of it, that's why we asked you three. You're all very unique in your approaches. And like you said, you had done this prior to this, but
Right.
I'm really hoping to hear from you that this has really helped you continue to grow.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely it has. And honestly, you know, prior to the pandemic, that's what we were building forward to. That's why we built, you know, that's why we're building out a second one so we can have two on the road at all times. I think it's going to make a big difference. And then really, I just, you know, we're going to take advantage of them with the pandemic and then moving forward. And you know, honestly, we talked about opportunities and what it's created, and I can't say. I mean, I think most people that get on them, you know, they get on the van. I mean, we typically get on there with a purpose of a specific product, but what we usually find is their interest actually lies in something else that they saw in the van. So people have asked me, have they paid for themselves yet? Probably not with the money, with the amount of money we've invested in them, but I think long term they will, because I think number one, it shows our commitment to these manufacturers and the manufacturers to us, and the advice and you know, that we can offer in these products and how we can save people money. I think in time, the benefit of the money we've invested will eventually pay off.
Yeah, and it's always kind of hard to tie return on investment to a certain thing that you've done and that happened. I think that's something Diane and I struggle with a lot. We do a lot on a social aspect on webinars, et cetera. And it's really difficult to kind of tie, you say, oh yeah, that piece of business came from XYZ. But I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of times we go with this presupposed notion that this is what the customer is looking for. And I think the beauty has been in sales sometimes, where the magic really happens in sales is when you walk in and they are like, oh my God, I can't believe you have this, because this is exactly what I'm looking for. And having a place where you really show everything. And as you can see on some of the pictures that we have on the screen, I mean, it's cool. I mean, there's completely built out panels where you have, for us, for Finder, for instance, it showcases our 39 series, where you have the before and after on there, where you can really see a nice solution type selling. And I think that's really what's been pretty amazing. But talking about successes, Ray, what are some of the, do you have a pretty cool success story you want to share from the van, or from recent sales experiences post?
Well, I think for us, you know, John, our sales guy in Virginia, he's been using it actually the most in the last 8 to 10 weeks through this pandemic. And he had not previously used it prior in the last year and a half. And I think what's been pretty cool for him is, number one, he's just had a great time doing it. It's just, he's older than I am. He's been in the industry 35 or 40 years. And I think having this kind of a tool for him has just made making the sales calls fun. And literally, I mean, every time he would leave out of one, at the end of the day, he'd call and say, Ray, you're not going to believe this, man. He said, these guys are interested in this, or this relay, or this product, or this enclosure. And I think literally probably 90% of the places he's gone in the last 2 months in this pandemic, places he hadn't been, he was able to get them out on the van, and most of them have turned into some sort of sale and introduce product to people to solve problems. So that's what's been kind of the coolest thing is what it's done for us is it's made the selling process fun. You know, we go out and it's given us a little more confidence because we have all this product behind us. We can go out and you know, touch and show and so forth. But I think the people getting on the van and seeing that there are solutions and helping people has been the best thing for us.
Oh, excellent. And you know, as a person that has done trade shows for many moons, And you know, we're not doing them. People aren't doing them. I think this is the super quick, easy way to get to people, and it gets us out of the office. It gets us in
Sure.
to see things. So bravo on you, buddy.
It
Sure.
really is. Bravo. One of the things that I always thought it really supported your overall strategy, Ray. You want to tell us a little bit about that, getting out to people and really creating more awareness than actually actively trying to, for lack of a better term, slinging parts.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think for all of us as reps, I mean, I think Bo and Ryan would agree. I mean, we don't want to just be a sales guy, right? We want to be kind of a trusted advisor of, hey, you know, do you know a better way to solve this problem or build this panel or make this process better? And I think that's part of what this can do for us is show that there's a commitment that we're not just another sales guy walking in with a piece of paper or whatever, or a pamphlet, that we want to help solve problems. And I think that's really, one of the other reasons we built these out is to show that, hey, you know, we're here, you know, we've been around doing this for a long time, but we also want to help solve your problems. And, you know, here's, you can get on this van and take a look at all this product and see how we can help you.
Hey, I love your approach, Ray, just for the simple fact that it sets you apart from your competition.
Right.
It shows the trusted advisor aspect from it, and not just running up and down the road, as Chad said, slinging parts.
Right.
You know, and when you leave there, and a week later, they're going to remember that van.
Right.
They're going to remember you guys, and you know, just how that takes off from there. Really cool.
I like the term trusted advisor because that's what we try to do as a manufacturer, as an organization. And really that's what we look for when we select our representatives, our manufacturers representatives like you all that are here. And I think that's really one of the core things, Diane, that makes these three, that unifies these three, right? Or us four, us five.
Yeah. Hello. All right, we're going to send Chad back to school soon so he can
I
learn
can't
how to
count.
Yeah.
Math has always been a problem,
Yeah.
especially geometry. Oh my God, was that terrible?
Dude, seriously. We went to math and geometry. All right, back to it, gentlemen. All right, who wants to step up next? Who is our next lovely contestant on our socially distant industrial sales evolution? All right, there you go, Bo. Look, Bo's on the screen already.
There you go.
Little, and it's you, Bo. Now, your approach has been really interesting because, you know, as a marketing person and looking at digital and virtual and stuff like that, and to see how you made the personal approach in the sense with your email campaigns and staying in touch that way. I mean, how do you feel about this? Well, you have to feel good because you're doing it, but I mean, how did it kind of come about?
Yeah, well, my approach was it's been formulated way before COVID, and it's kind of what Ray touched on. Is getting appointments and being able to show your value in front of these guys gets harder and harder. It seems like every year it's getting more challenging. Guys are in the field a lot, just wearing many hats within the company, and trying to carve out 30 minutes is getting harder and getting more expensive. The COVID just fueled that initiative for me, brought it to the forefront. Quickly after, a couple of weeks after COVID, I realized we're going to be in this for a long time. And there are two things that surfaced for me. One, there's still a need to get information in front of my customers. There's new products, there's new things that they need to see. And the second thing is I got to find a way to stay relevant. And without being in front of people, how do I do that? And I've always felt there's a better way to go from a cold call to a warm call before I drive 50 miles to see a guy. And talking to a lot of people and seeing a lot what's going on in the world out there, I felt that adding a digital platform, an email campaign source, the email is just one aspect of it. Of course, there's LinkedIn and there's other ways to go about it. I chose the email part because of the relevant side. I needed to stay relevant with my customers, out of sight, out of mind. So I started the email campaign, and it's a targeted email campaign. It's 180 engineers in my market, whether they're consultants or project engineers or software engineers or whatnot. So it's not like a blast to the world. Actually, Chad came up with a good idea. Put my face on the email that I send out, and that gets my relevance. It checks the box right there for me. So. When in the beginning, the biggest challenge was to come up with content so that they would open the email. I mean, everybody out here is getting bombarded, especially since COVID, with emails and solicitations, and join my webinar here, and they're all boring and they're all generic. And if you're like me, you hit delete before you even open up an email. So I had to figure out how to, what I could do in the beginning to get a following, so that my future emails would get opened and I could continue to expand what I'm trying to accomplish. So essentially, I'm making 180 sales calls a month.
How many people actually open now?
My hit rates actually is going up as I learn what what works and what doesn't work. I'm 35 to 38% open rate as of my last one, and my click rates, which is clicking on content inside, looking at video, opening a document, is running between 8 and 8.5% click rate.
That's pretty strong. For those of you that don't know emails and email campaign and kind of stats, Diane, what's good? Like 20 to 25%. In the industrial world, it's even more difficult. I think the average open rate is like 18 to 20, Diane, in industrial.
Yeah, if you look at, reading some of the statistics out there, it's not. So, I mean, that's great.
Yeah, that's pretty successful.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is promote, and it's a simple email. It's not convoluted, and maybe have 2 products on it. I try to promote products that I think the customer would want to see versus what I want them to see. So I try to put myself in their shoes and on the recipient side and open that, and there's something intriguing. So the products are unique. There's, more times application specific, solves a unique problem. But obviously my goal is to get them into the Finder catalog and look at the relays and stuff, and the heaters and the thermostats and stuff like that. But to get their attention, that's where I shoot for.
Well, nice. Now, one of the things, and Chad asked Ray this, and I thought it was interesting, like when you first did it, how many bounce backs and stuff like that and problems did you run into? Because it's a learning curve.
Yeah, my biggest challenge in that one is staying relevant and continuing my open rate to go up. But the second thing was getting through companies' firewalls. They got all the safety and the firewall set up, so they were several people were being kicked back, and then trying to figure out what it is in my email that's triggering it. And you won't ever get 100% because everybody's firewall is different. But learning certain words and certain type links and stuff of that nature, being able to penetrate the firewall to get to that. Once someone opens my email inside a company, then I'm in. And so sometimes I've had to call people and say, hey man, check your junk folder. I'm testing this new marketing idea. And they go in and say, oh yeah, there you are. Well, I add you to the safe list. Unfortunately, the data that I use MailChimp. The data doesn't tell me what firewall's blocking me and what company.
No.
I just kind of have to call a few people and say, hey, okay. So it's not a perfect science. I don't know if you ever get 100% through these firewalls. But, at the rate I'm doing now, I'm really touching 75 people a month. So, it's better than sitting in, not doing anything.
Hey, Bo, have you gotten many phone calls based on those, or do you do many follow-ups? Just curious, because I've done some less formal kind of campaigns on my own that don't use a MailChimp or something like that. And I've sent some pretty directed emails, and then I tried to follow up with phone call. I was just curious how you've done the follow-up process. Do you make phone calls, or have you got phone calls back, or, kind of how have you done the follow-up part of that on the email?
Yes, all that above. I mean, I've gotten phone calls and I do follow-ups. The software I use for my email provides analytics, so I can go in and see who opened my email, how many times they opened my email, and then what they clicked on while they're there. So with that data, now I'm way smarter than I was before I started. I know that guy over there at XYZ is interested in this for some reason. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but it prompts a call. So it was kind of strange at first because it kind of felt like I was Big Brother, you know, the government's looking down and looking at all your stuff. But it was actually well received. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. What was that thing? It had that fuse on the output. You know, so all the above. Phone calls. Some people just look and move on down the road. But you know, I feel like what I've done is for that 10 seconds, I'm in front of them.
That was really cool. One of the ones that we kind of honed in on and worked on was a fairly significant OEM in your market. How many times did they open the fused output email?
Yeah, 39 times.
They opened it 39 times.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty strong indication that something triggered it. And
yes.
What happened? They sent it out to the world within their organization, and everybody had to open it or something like that.
Yeah, it was it's an OEM system integrator that we hit obstacles after obstacles trying to getting through the Iron Curtain and get a little bit of traction. And for whatever reason, we just hadn't found that right crack yet. And this guy opened this thing up 39 times, and I didn't have a strong relationship with him. I knew him. We'd done some business, but I haven't had lunch with him or anything like that. So we didn't have that kind of relationship. So I called him up and I said, hey man, you opened my email up 39 times.
Good karma, man.
He goes, yeah, it had that fuse thing. He goes, I sent that out to all my engineers.
All
of them. So, but what it allowed me to do in that phone conversation is I built a phenomenal relationship just from that phone conversation. We went into, the other stuff, how you like working from home, all that stuff. And then last week, Chad, we got an email from him. He's speccing us in some OEM enclosures. I think it was 16 relays, and they're going to be 25 a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty nice. But I think you hit the nail on the head, and that's something that we really been honing in on organizationally as well, is making it personal.
Yeah.
And connecting on a personal level. I think, Diane, we really decided from our strategy perspective, we decided to try and not incorporate product for like 2 or 3 months in any of our posts, and really just making it about who you are as a person versus making it about slinging parts.
Well, I think the first month during the lockdown, we were all weirded out. I never would have thought this, what is life? What is going on? So it wasn't about product. It was about reaching out to people that, we've done business with, but we've also established a relationship with. How are you doing? What are you doing? I've worked from home for a number of years, so it wasn't weird for me. But for a lot of our customers, my friends, they're, they got kids, they're trying to set up a home office. So, difficult times, but I'm not trying to sling product right now. I just want to know, are you okay? Hi.
Well, I agree with that 100%. What I found is, over talking to a lot of people, they're used to being in office and fraternizing at the water cooler and talking about some football or something like that. Now they're at home in their room 8-9 hours a day. The conversations I had over the last 5 months have been unbelievable, and they've been all about relationship building. They've been nothing about product. And it's really phenomenal to go through that and see how you can still bond and develop relationships from what we're doing here, than actually being in front of the guy.
That was part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 coming soon.
Thank you for joining us for this awesome episode of Finder-osity. We certainly hope we were able to satisfy your Finder-osity, curiosity, monstrosity.
Monstrosity? Hush up. It's all about the Finder-osity here. So make sure y'all are following us on YouTube or on your favorite podcast station. And don't forget, my friends,
Wear your shades because our future is bright.